this time we're talking about a warehouse. So this is non-residential. So the first thing I want to mention is that we're going to use the table on the bottom of page 6-48, table 6A-8, on the bottom of page 648. What makes this one part of it a little more complicated is that the IRS does not know when we're going to dispose of this property. So we have to make an adjustment to our calculation of depreciation in the year of sale, or when we dispose of the property. Since the IRS would have no way of knowing it, it cannot build that into the tables. The first year and every year that we own it, they build the cost recovery depreciation directly into the tables. So it's just a matter of going to the table I mentioned and then looking up the percentage and then multiplying it by the purchase, the initial cost basis of the property. And again, I'm using 3.1 million. Your text uses 3 million. I believe it's 3 million here. Let's see. No, I apologize. Let's see, number 45. Yeah, it is 3 million. So they use 3 million, I'm using 3.1 million. All right, so what I did is I took that 3.1 million and I multiplied every year by the related factor found from the table. And the percentages remain the same after you get out of the first year for several years. So the amount of depreciation then will remain constant. Now, as I go to the table and I look for January, years 2 through 239, and let me update this just for a minute because these values were based on 33 million. I need to update that. Oh, that's not the right way. Let me change this here. Because these values, this 79,484 is depreciation on 3 million. Had I 3.1 million, excuse me. Had I used 3 million here, which was I did initially in the problem, then you can see that the depreciation is the same for all years. But I changed it to 3.1 million. So my formula works fine, but I have no formula in the other two. So I'm just going to go ahead. For purposes of our coverage of this, I'm going to go ahead and just copy that and paste it as absolute values here. So then now you can see they're the same because the table tells us they're the same. Well, we have the same depreciation then using the 0.02564 from the table in the subsequent years. However, when you get to the year of the sale, now that's different because yes, we're going to use the same percentage of 0.02564 since we have to use the January column always to depreciate the September column when we depreciate this asset. So we're using the September column. So I'm just going to go back a minute to make sure I'm capturing the. Yep. So we have the September column. We used January earlier. Now we're using September. So if we go to the column number 7 and we scroll down, you see it's 2.564. So we have the right percentage in all of these for September. We have to use that same September column in the year of disposal, like any other year. However, as I said earlier, we need to make an adjustment here because we sold it on March 1st. So we will calculate then the depreciation in year of disposal by starting the way we did earlier. That is to say, we will take 3.1 million times the percentage of 0.02564 in column 9 for September, like we did in every other year. Now we need to make an adjustment though, because we only held this property for 2.5 tax months. And I say tax months because we are using the mid-month convention when we deal with real estate. So if we sold this property on March 1st, then we don't get credit for the full year's depreciation. So it'll be, in my example, 3,100,000 times 0.02564, as I said, times the 2.5 months we held the property divided by 12. And that 2.5 months again is going to be all of January, all of February, and then half of March, because it's assumed using the mid-month convention that no matter when we bought or sold a property during the month, we're going to assume it was bought or sold in the middle of the month, the mid-month convention. So we're going to multiply the regular 79,484, and we're going to multiply that by 2.5 months divided by 12 months, because we only held it 2.5 tax months of the year. So this then is our depreciation for the year of disposal or disposition. And so the key to remember about this is we always stay in the September column, the 9 column, for this non-residential property. But the last year of disposition, we don't get the full year. We only get the tax months we held it. So we're always giving credit for the full months. Then in the month we sell it, we assume it was sold in the middle of the month. Okay, that's the mid-month convention for real estate.